Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. My name's Joy Hammond. This is.
Can I do this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Joy Hammond and TJ Winters, using video in ministry, part 1, Friday, 10:30 a.m.
So there's our intro. No, we're from Concordia Lutheran Church in San Antonio, Texas. And I wanted to give you guys a quick disclaimer before we start this video presentation. We've kind of done some video things the last couple years, and we get into the presentation and realize not everybody was on the same page, and we want to be helpful to you. So this part 1 in ministry, we're talking about how video became a part of the ministry at Concordia, how it's evolved over the years, and then how we use it now, and then we're going to show you some samples of how we use it now. We have a part 2 session at 2 o'clock, and that's going to include more of the equipment, software, resources, things like that to use. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you don't feel like this is the session for you, you won't hurt our feelings too badly if you get up and go.
The other disclaimer with that is when we're talking about video, we do mean like video shot with the camera or presentation, not just like lyrics on the screen or backgrounds or whatever. So we're not really even going to talk about projection lyrics or whatever.
Yeah.
So just to clarify.
And it's just how we do it, and we'd love to hear how you guys use video too. So I think we're going to start off with prayer.
Okay. All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time together. We thank you for your faithfulness and how no matter what's going on in the world, what's going on in our lives, you are present. We pray you would bless this conference, this fellowship, this time now, and all the sessions going on, and that all of us can take something back with us when we leave the city, go back to our homes, and that we can use something here that we've learned to work harder for you, work smarter for you, and to bless your people. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so I'll start with a... oh, sorry, you're running it. My bad. My bad. We need to talk about this ahead of time.
Yeah.
I'll start with a history of video at Concordia. Concordia was founded, what year?
1951.
52? 1? And Dr. Guido Merkins was the founding pastor. And at some point, he started using video very early, especially for a church. He was recording sermons before there was VHS, broadcasting it on television. So Concordia's just had this history of using video to spread the gospel, really. And aside from the television show, once VHS came into play, every sermon was available on VHS tapes for small donation at the bookstore, and audio cassette tapes. And of course that morphed into CDs and DVDs, and now online with YouTube and even streaming and rebroadcasting some of those files. We don't give away or sell, quote unquote, too many DVDs anymore. Most of the stuff is available online now, but there's still some folks who still prefer the DVD. But I started there in 2004, and my background in video was just basic. It was just doing stuff for fun. Bless you. Doing things for fun. But we got a video editing computer, powerful Mac with some software, and just started making videos. The first video we made the first one I did was a Bible study, I think. And so it just kind of evolved over the years and then grown. And then Joy came on staff about a year after, maybe half a year after I started, and she started helping out with video, and just having 2 people to be dedicated to do some things has really helped. My job was I didn't get hired as a video person. I was tech support. But since I kind of knew about video, I took that on as well. We had some volunteers filming with their cameras and doing some stuff for us. So it all started very grassroots style, just working with the team. Whatever we can do is great. We'll take anything because we have nothing. So the first thing we did was film a Bible study since I was on staff, and had that distributed to the church. And so it was our pastors teaching with a background and try to put some graphics on it. And that was a pretty big project to do. That was the first thing I think we did together. Is that right? But you did stuff before.
And I wasn't hired either to do video. My degree's in broadcast journalism, and I worked at news station and some production companies, and so I had some experience editing and had learned what looks good. But I kind of came on and learned on the fly, mostly Final Cut Pro, and they asked me to make a highlight video for VBS. So that was my first main video. I shot it myself that week and then put it together. But as time went on, we started slowly introducing these videos to our congregation. We noticed they liked them. Wasn't all the time, wasn't even at every service. We started getting into things like from highlight videos. Then our senior pastor said, you know, I get so tired of standing up in front of the congregation on Sunday morning and having this list of announcements I got to get it through. That, you know, we've got things on the worship guide, but then I've got to do this list because I can just see people like, oh, here we go with announcements, you know. And yet all the staff was like, can you please announce mine? Like, mine's really important, so please announce it. So he's like, let's try video announcements. So we started doing that. Then we started doing sermon bumpers to introduce the sermon series every Sunday. Well, even with that, we didn't start showing that at our 8 o'clock traditional service. We started with only 9:30 and 11. So we kind of eased our congregation into video. And the more we did it, the more response we got. Oh, we really like that. And so it wasn't all of a sudden we're going to start using video. Now, video is in every service we have.
And because we had that history of distributing our sermons on VHS, our DVD, streaming, people were just used to video from their church.
And then from sermon bumpers, you know, our senior pastor likes to use video illustrations in a sermon. So we got to where I was doing video announcements. I would usually cut up a clip or two off of YouTube for his sermon. Then we started filming sermons to share with other congregations, or we were down a couple pastors, and we have a Saturday evening service, and those people wanted to hear from Pastor Tucker, and so he said, well, let's start filming me the week of, and we'll play the video in church Saturday evening. So we just got to the point where, because I also do marketing, PR, and special events, I couldn't keep up with all the video we were doing. So then we hired Jonathan, who was back there filming right now.
You can go. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, don't worry about it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
3 years he's
Not
been
what we
on
thought it
staff
was
now.
either.
Yeah.
We're already doing this stuff in our church.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Very
great.
cool.
That's awesome. So now he is a full-time video person. So we just wanted to share that so you guys would know this was not an overnight deal. We had to kind of earn the congregation's trust and buy into video before we could then turn the investment into a full-time paid staff person to only shoot and edit video. I got it. So why this big investment for us? Well, two big reasons really. It's engaging and allows creativity. So for video announcements, like I said before, it's no longer him standing there talking. We can share twice the amount of information because they can see what's going on and they're hearing it too. So if we're talking about a big fall festival coming up, we use footage from the previous year, and maybe there's a visitor in the congregation, they can see what the event is about and they can hear, you know, this is how I'm going to volunteer, or this is how I'm going to be a part of it. And, you know, creativity, sky's the limit with effects, transitions, audio, things like that. There's just so much you can do with video.
It's versatile and far-reaching. That's me. Yeah. So one of the things, as she's saying, you do a lot of different things with it. Versatility in video. Well, it's one thing to describe something and say, like Joy said, we have a fall festival coming up, or we have a youth event. It's another thing to see something too. You guys know Jeff Schrank. His son Ben is at our church. He's a youth pastor, and he does this thing called Messy Wars or Paint or whatever. So in the video announcement, like, they throw paint on him or they'll do stuff. We don't always do gimmicky things, but every once in a while it's really catchy. You see the youth pastor all of a sudden get like a bunch of flour and stuff thrown on him. He's saying, come do this event, this is what this will be like, and brings kids in and brings youth in. And so there's a lot of things you can do with it. It can be as professional or silly as you want, but it's also far-reaching. What I love about these videos is that they're not just a one-stop use. They're not a one-time use. So we'll play a video announcement in church. Great. Well, that took hours worth of work, now it's done. Well, no, we put it also on our online site where we stream and rebroadcast our services. So now if somebody missed something, they're watching it throughout the week if they're joining us. Or we'll put it on Facebook for folks to see as a reminder. There's so many things you can reuse video for. It increases its usage that just doing it in person doesn't. And it looks much better. So
How many of you guys are using video in your worship services already? Okay. We came up with a list of how we're using it right now.
So I want to ask after this, we'll go through this and then ask, what y'all are doing.
Which ones you're doing too.
So video announcements, we talked about that already. We highlight events. Sorry guys, if you can't see. We highlight events. Vacation Bible School is one of our largest events of the year. And there's kids all over campus, volunteers all over campus. But a lot of the church doesn't attend, right? They're at work, it's for kids, so they don't go. We've got about 700 volunteers, but a lot of them are younger kids. And so the people in the congregation don't get to participate in VBS, yet they see the sanctuary completely redone for the church service. They see resources being allocated. So it's really neat to be able to show them what happened. So after Vacation Bible School, Joy said she makes a highlight video. We show that in church. We show that at a VBS family night, so the parents can see what their kids have been doing. And then we show that same video on Sunday morning. Either the pastor will do it during the sermon and just say, hey, we had a great week at VBS. It was awesome. Let me show you what it looked like. People love it. The congregation loves it every year. Then nobody's ever like, oh, another VBS highlight video. They enjoy seeing what happened, what their kids were doing, what their church was doing that week. State of the congregation, everybody has voters meetings, right? Some people love them, some people hate them. Most people hate them, I think. But it got to be, Pastor Tucker would give a state of the congregation and talk about what's going on. Well, it was getting to be long, and he had a huge notes, and we tried to get pictures and coordinate slides, and it got to be a little overwhelming, right? Mm-hmm. So this is still a big project, but he will go in front of on the camera and just film himself talking about it. That way, you keep your points succinct, you stay focused, you don't drift at all, and you can talk about ministries segmented at a time and have people send you information, and Jonathan and Joy make a video, and then we just play that. And the first year was half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But
that was a long video.
It was very long.
Yeah.
Very long. But shorter than his normal speech, his conversation would be, or his presentation. 45 minutes to an hour, right? Wasn't he talking?
Just an hour.
And because there's a lot of stuff to cover. The people ate it up. They loved the video. Thought it was a great idea. I think we shortened it this year even.
This year it was like down to 8 minutes, and we printed out a handout to supplement it. So that
just changes and morphs, and but we're just showing you different things we're thinking through. Promotional material, new events, live streaming. We've been streaming for 10 years now, and it's grown, and it's a huge part of our ministry. Social media. We'll show you something a little bit later, but sometimes we'll make videos only for social media. We'll just post it on our Facebook site, and it'll be either an engagement piece or something that just to build up momentum for an upcoming event. Bible study, I've told you, we haven't done that in years, but we would film an entire Bible study, so like a 6-week Bible study on video those things take forever. Well, they do. Not the Bible study themselves, but the editing. Sermon illustrations, making a point, pageant enhancement. We do Palm Sunday and a Christmas pageant every year, Christmas Eve pageant. So instead of leaving the screens blank when there's actors going on, we'll use them for the scene. If it's Caesar announcing a census, we'll show like something like Jerusalem or whatever. Video conferencing, we actually do this a lot. We used to use GoToMeeting, now we use Zoom. And Pastor Tucker has a lot of conferences. We had a staff member that started recently, but they were still living out of town. I conferenced him in on tons of meetings. But we also use this for some ministry things, which we'll show you a little bit later. I'm talking to some folks in other countries. There's one that we're really terrible at, and it's conference presentations. So that was for you guys. That was a joke. Gifts. We have a drive-through nativity every year, and just a little thing we say, hey, if you want a quick little video gift, shoot us your text, shoot us your info. We'll keep up with you, and we'll send you a gift. We text them a link to a YouTube video where they can watch the drive-through nativity and share it with people and things like that.
One year I got an email from somebody who had come through, and they signed up to get the link and got the video of the drive-through nativity, and they sent it to their son who was serving overseas, and said he just loved it. So again, that was far-reaching.
I was going to say that defines far-reaching. Yeah, exactly. Sermon bumpers, introducing our sermon series. We don't go through the liturgy or divine, order of worship or whatever, divine service, but we create sermon series, often topical, sometimes exegetical, going through a book of the Bible. Either way, we have a bumper to just talk about the series. So last series we did was I Need a Hero. It was on the book of Judges. And so just 30 seconds, 20 seconds of just saying, I need a hero. What are we talking about? Judges, the failures, the successes, God's faithfulness. And it just introduces the series. And then testimonies. These are great. Hearing from folks in the congregation who have been touched by a ministry, who have been touched by God's word, something changing in their lives. Those are very powerful. And so we've done those as well. So that's not an exhaustive list, but it's very, very long. What are you guys doing? What's some of you who raised your hands, what are you all doing with video? Anybody?
Mostly testimonies, we have minute for ministry sort of thing that are not supposed to be commercials, but are supposed to be testimonies.
Yeah.
We did sermon bumpers when we did the story for a year, but haven't kept it up since. But we had some fun ones with that. Sermon illustrations and Bible studies, that sort of thing. Occasionally an announcement.
Yeah. Very cool.
We do a lot of that. Things, not all of them, but we do many of those, and we also have a app for Android and iPhones that you can get media from past sermons and stuff. And then one of our services, we do a deaf broadcast where we have an inset with a signer, and that runs separate from any stream that is full audio.
That's great. That's great.
We did something that introduced all the staff of the school. It was a spoof on Full House. It was like the beginning of, they recreated Full House.
Nice.
And each scene introduced a teacher. And it's just a fun way for anybody who's outside to see that the staff is creative and fun and loves to be here.
Where did people see that?
We housed it on our website and
Your
YouTube,
website.
and so they shared it, on the school website.
Yeah.
And so it just gets in the community. And it just, with Full House coming we didn't
Fuller
know that,
House,
but-
Fuller House? Yeah, next week I think.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool, but.
That's awesome.
Cool. That's great.
And that's a great point. You can introduce your staff or whoever to a lot of people through video, because that's where your personality comes out, not
Right.
standing, kind of in front of
Right.
people, but when you can have some fun. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I've asked our people to produce a video on our many ministries for our new classes.
Yeah.
Because I have 20 people that want to come and give a very boring presentation that no one gets anything out of. But a 15-minute video could cover all of those ministries in something that they'll remember.
Yeah.
And then use it.
Yeah.
And the same thing for introducing staff or anything else. It's
It's great.
an excellent opportunity. I'm hoping we'll get that done soon.
One thing we failed to put up here that many of them have already mentioned is actually, yes, we do record our sermons and adult Bible classes, video and audio, and post those as well. I don't think I've actually put that in there.
Do you have your own site that you post, or do you use a certain?
No, YouTube. I
You
mean,
do
we have
all
our
YouTube?
website, but we embed them in the site. You can host them, but
Yeah,
YouTube does a great job
yeah.
at decoding,
It's free.
adapting to devices, HTML5, Flash, whatever you're doing. I
Right.
mean, I just take advantage of it. The problem with YouTube is if you use, so I'm not a lawyer, so don't take my copyright advice, but from the way I understand it, in a teaching environment, in a church environment, you can use certain things as illustrations if they count. Outside of that, falls outside the purview of copyright fair use. So when you post something to YouTube, if your pastor has used it in the church service, even if you've got a license to do it, YouTube has a great copyright detection and will flag it. Now they allow it, but they'll put an ad up, and you can't control those ads. I don't like that. So there's been times and this is not a testament to our band, this is a testament to YouTube's copyright detection, but we played a song, I Will Follow by Chris Tomlin. And just our band playing the song got flagged as copyright by Chris Tomlin, which it is. However, we didn't use the audio recording. We have the licenses to rebroadcast our own stuff. We have a license to rebroadcast our band playing those songs. Yet we got flagged. Well, YouTube doesn't know we have those licenses. So I go in and I submit a dispute, and I've won every dispute. But you got to wait sometimes 30 days. So having ads on your videos is not the best thing either. Ideally, they would not have those ads there. If you do a lot of that, and if that's, you know, in the way you guys operate, Vimeo is great. We use Vimeo as well. But Vimeo is great. You got to pay if you're going to do a lot of uploads or whatever, but it's well worth it. Good quality too. But anyway, the point is, have somebody else host it. I mean, it's just not worth the downtime, the storage capacity. I mean, you're talking tons, gigs and gigs now with HD. If we ever go 4K, you know, I mean, for a minute of 4K shooting on an iPhone at least is like 360 meg, just a minute.
So it's just best to have a link from your website to a YouTube channel.
And I would embed it in your website because you still get the stats if you do an embed. But yeah.
Right.
All right. Joy,
So with this list then, I just wanted to say, you know, we talked about the evolution of video at Concordia. A lot of you guys are using video, so you know it's not just, well, I'm going to shoot this, I'm going to edit real quick, and it's done. That there is a process. There are, that's why it's a full-time job for Jonathan now. We come up with, outside of video announcements, we kind of have that down, that system, even though we'd like to do it earlier. We do talk about every announcement that needs to be done for Sunday by Tuesday, and usually he's shot everybody by the end of the day Tuesday, so he has like Wednesday and Thursday to get it done. But after that, I proof it, just like any printing thing. You gotta have eyes on it too. So I've gotta approve it and then put it in the folder for our worship team to go over to the sanctuary and test it. That doesn't always happen, but we try. So there's a lot of steps involved in thinking of what you can use a video for and then actually getting it done. So
yeah, that proofing and testing is key because the last thing you want is something like this to be a distraction to folks or to cause problems. I mean, that's just annoying. Nobody, I mean, I'd rather not use anything than have spelling errors all the time because you can't just edit that quickly on the fly in ProPresenter. A video has got to be gone in your editor, exported. So problems and typos and all that is just.
And we've had a few things that we've, you know, slipped through the cracks or we've had to fix. A couple rare occasions, video just didn't work, right? Well, you know, and that is all technology. But we haven't had so much of that where it takes away kind of our credibility with the congregation to use video.
That's a good word, yeah.
So next, we just brought some samples, just some things that we've done. Maybe would give you guys some ideas. And again, when we go through these, I'd like to hear more of what you guys have done too. But let's see, what do we have first? So first one, we did a series of volunteer spotlights, and this was Jonathan's idea, just to love, serve, shine is a catchphrase in our congregation. And shining, a lot of that is volunteering, and we wanted to find a way to honor the people who give their time week in and week out to serve God's people at Concordia. So we got together, he did some interviews on a Sunday morning. This particular one is our golf cart ministry. It's quite a walk from our parking lot up to the sanctuary, and so we would show these, and we weren't trying to recruit more people for the ministry. It was simply a celebration piece.
Yeah, celebrating people and volunteers, and that shine, you know, from Philippians 4 is where we get that. Shine like stars, shine like stars in the universe. 14, right? 2:14. And so that, you know, people talk about it a lot on these videos.
My name's Bobby Mueller, and I serve on the golf cart ministry.
Hi, my name is Patrick Whitemire. I'm an elder here at Concordia, and this is the golf cart ministry that I'm serving at today. We usually do it on Sundays and a lot of other events.
I got involved with it because I like to meet people, and I like to help people, especially people who can't walk very well. And
we do get a lot of satisfaction out of helping the elderly. They're wonderful, wonderful people, and they need help, and some of them literally would not be going to church if you couldn't drive them up the ramp. Somebody came and asked me one day and said, would you be interested in driving one of the golf carts? And I thought, yeah, I think I can do that. I think I can do that.
I feel like serving in the church has blessed me.
I find it very rewarding. Over the years, this has kind of gotten to be a place where my friends are, and my kids are here with me every Sunday. They're also volunteering in different places. I get to meet a lot of new people here, driving the golf carts. And I'm really proud of all of us that do what we do, Sunday in, day out.
I mean, that's what being a Christian's about, is being a servant.
Well, if you could just see my two kids, you would know that's the way I've been blessed by this church, and it's where I have the most fun, and I like being here. I'm involved in a lot of ministries. Sometimes I think probably too many, but I really, really enjoy the work. And if I were to give advice to anyone, I would say to try it, because you might like it.
I would ask them if they have a servant's heart, and if they like to serve people.
Get involved. Get involved with the prayer groups, get involved with the young people if you like that. There's just countless things to do up here.
My name is Bobby.
Hi, my name is Patrick. My name is Kevin Aft.
And this is how I shine.
Now those guys did not want to be on camera. They didn't want to talk about it, you know, but when we explained the reason why, they bought into it. And I would see them the Sundays after that, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, so many people are like, well, hi Kevin, it was nice to meet, I saw you on the video. And so it just created other relationships and made them feel good. I know it gets people in the pews thinking, well, how can I serve? You know, that was kind of a byproduct, because that's what they talked about. They're like, well, we want to encourage other people to do something too. So we're a large congregation, and when people serve, they just become more and more connected.
And we show that during these, particularly during the offering time. Sometimes there'll be an offertory piece of music, whatever, but this, sometimes we do something like this.
You do 52 of those a year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next we have the Drive-Thru Nativity highlight video. So Drive-Thru Nativity is an annual Christmas event. People drive onto campus in their cars, they get a bag of homemade cookies and a CD, and then they drive through our campus by 10 stations that tell the story of Christmas. And this event takes over 500 volunteers to do. It's over 2 evenings, 5 to 9 p.m., Saturday, Sunday. This year we had 2,091 cars come through over those 2 nights. And so obviously it's a big ask of our congregation between volunteering, being there, baking the cookies, praying for the event. It's a lot. So the weekend following, we like to show this video so they can see some of the people that came through. We'll use some of this footage then too for next year to promote it. But this is the drive-through video we showed.
It spreads the message of Christmas at the right time and brings people by the church and whole families together.
You know, the kids light up when you give them the bag of cookies, and some of the cars have dogs just as excited as the kids are.
It's a joy just to be a part of it.
We would not miss it.
What an amazing drive-through nativity we've had. We've had all kinds of people come through, record numbers. We've had live camels, can you believe it? And we've had incredible help from our entire Concordia family. From the folks who were out here working in the parking lot, to the actors, to the folks who were baking cookies and making food to keep everybody going strong. It has been a team effort. Thank you. We are so grateful for you and everything that you've done. Merry Christmas. And thanks for making it a Merry Christmas for so many others in our community. God bless you.
So that's kind of fun because there are people who obviously don't come, and so they get to see.
Right.
People always love the dogs. The idea of people bringing, we actually give dog treats
Dog
too.
treats out for those, yeah.
So,
but the volunteer came up with that at some point one year. We're like,
yeah.
oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's neat family time.
Next, this is just a sample.
Nicole's gonna love that.
Yeah. So our, yes.
Please do. She's presenting right now, so you should text it to her.
Text her, yeah. So every week we do video announcements, and they range anywhere from 2 minutes 15 seconds, which our worship leader appreciates, to up to 3 minutes, which he doesn't like. But we play those right at the beginning of service, and this is just one of the video announcements. We're not going to play a whole set for you, but here we go.
Our pageant rehearsals start this Thursday, and it's not too late to participate. The music is awesome with a hip modern flair. On Thursdays we practice 7:30. Be there.
I just realized that all 3 of our samples have people wearing Santa hats.
Oh, yeah. We only film during Christmas. That's right, John.
And what's interesting is what we learned from this particular video announcement. Something like this, which sometimes it's people just standing and talking, like normally not singing. They're musical and talented, so I would never sing on a video announcement. But we learned that we need to put an announcement like this at the end, because then in church Sunday morning people were laughing and even started clapping. So the next video announcement, nobody heard. It was just a talking head up there because
people were clapping for them.
They were clapping for them. So that again, we don't do this every week. It is once in a while, just to throw something new out there and fun.
Yeah, go ahead.
How long does it take you to shoot something like this?
Depends how much they have their stuff done.
It all depends on the pre-production,
Yeah.
all of the planning stages.
Yeah.
Of what are we going to use for the video announcements, who's going to do it, and doing the planning of when they're going to film it.
So how long is their pre-production?
Pre-production, I mean, it takes maybe about 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, so for example, there was my first video announcement, or my second one. I went in there, I took 10 takes, 15 takes, because I didn't like what I was saying. I was trying to memorize something. I put a little piece of paper up to look at what I was saying, and because I want to get the words down. And it took a lot of time, and it wasted his time. So one of these more recent times, lately, maybe, I'll write it out ahead of time, look at it, walk and prepare, do it in 2 takes, 1 or 2 takes. Whoops, I flubbed a word, let me do that again. Take it, is that good? Yep, done. We're out of there in 4 or 5 minutes, max.
Do you prompt it?
No, we can. We don't provide that. We've used, I did a school project one time for seminary and did a teleprompter app on an iPad and put it right there and did that. But typically with the announcements, no. You just memorize it.
Do you guys have a studio? Do you have like a room in your church that already has all this set up, like with the green screen and so forth?
Let me get
Yeah, go ahead.
Or am I?
We do, yeah. So while she's going to show you a picture of it. It is, we call it the green room. It is an office that has a green thing hanging in the back, or gray, cloth with some sort of backdrop. And initially it was just the office, and then with us, we didn't like the sound. It was too echoey because it's drywall, so we put up some sound reinforcement. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, so this is our green screen. We used some auction proceeds to invest in lights they're LED hanging from the ceilings, because before it would get so hot in there, especially during sermons. Pastor wears a robe. I mean, he was like wiping the sweat, and we've got a fan in there, and just crazy. So that helped. This is a view of the room from if you're filming.
Get that real quick.
So you're standing here, green's behind you. This is our executive assistant to the pastors. All the pastors and Greg's offices are right here. That becomes a problem. We put a sign out, filming in progress, but our staff has fun, and so how many times we have to stop and open the door and because we're filming. So it's not like this professional studio, but it works for us and it's convenient because Pastor Tucker is the one that does the most filming, and he can walk about 10 steps and he's in there.
So some of the things we did, we had these sitting around from a previous building installation, sound panels. They were sitting there. So we just put them in there and screwed them to the wall, cut some, and they're on a few different walls. But that wasn't there initially, and these lights weren't there initially. It was other lights that we had. So it took time, and I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years from when we first started using it to where we are now of equipment.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's HVAC, which is a problem. So we asked the company that installed it, or some electricians to come in and put a bypass switch in there that we can turn off the fan whenever we need to film. So
it's a little messy right there, but yeah, that's
you don't see it on camera,
right? Yeah. So it's not a big space, and I prefer to do if I do a video announcement, I like to go outside and do it because my curly hair creates problems, and I just but that's where we mostly do our stuff.
And the intention, let's leave that up for a minute. If you can see, these are blinds back there. So the intention of this office, or of this, is to, like, if we needed to make it an office again, in about 2 hours, we could tear down all the gear. Maintenance staff could come in, we could unscrew all the stuff from the walls, And then all we would really need to do is patch up those holes in the walls, and it can be an office again. So we did not take a room and completely gut it and redo it, and now it's stuck as a green room forever. It could be an office quickly. So.
How long is your video announcements as a part of the worship service?
We're told that we can have no longer than 3 minutes, but they prefer like 2:15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally, they'd be less. Sometimes there's just a lot of stuff to get through.
And that's every week.
Oh, sorry.
Every
single week.
Every single
Congregation
week.
expects that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So when we started it, an interesting, an interesting take on this. We started it partly because of engagement and to make it a little bit better. As Joyce said, did we show those at the 8 a.m. even? We did? Okay.
Yes.
Initially? Okay, but it was our senior pastor who did every announcement at the beginning. Months, 6 months maybe. He was doing every single announcement, so the congregation is seeing their senior pastor and they're getting buy-in. He's supporting it. He's doing it. And slowly,
But we did get questions. Why is the senior pastor sitting on the front pew and we're watching him in a video? A lot of people didn't like that. And I said, well, just give it,
well, you know, just say we can do this ahead of time and plan it.
It's just he can focus on the sermon, you know, and we can make the video announcements more engaging. But,
right.
Sorry, go ahead.
But he was the only no, that's fine. He was the only one who did it, and is to help get buy-in, right, from the people, seeing their senior pastor up there, and then slowly we started adding staff members who are relevant to that ministry, doing announcements, and now he hardly does any of them. Yeah. It's all staff. And he'll do the closing.
He'll tell me, I want to do that one, but otherwise I pick the people to do it, and that goes to pre-production too. Jonathan knows there are some staff who can get through an announcement pretty quick. There's one gal on staff that can walk in and first take, she's done. She's just comfortable, and that's not me. I usually take like 4 takes maybe, but you know, or 10. Didn't need that, Jonathan. Yeah. Okay.
But do you have any guidelines as you're doing all of that as far as like how often you will rerun something? Like, you only announce it the week of, you shoot something, you show it for 3-4 weeks ahead of time.
We will not show the same video announcement twice ever. So if it is the same topic, I'll either have somebody else do it the next week, or we'll do something like Messy Wars with the, and we try.
Yeah, the Messy Wars. That was the thing I was telling you about with the Pastor
yeah,
Ben.
we wouldn't do that
twice.
Yeah, and so I just kind of put the puzzle together in that we have 2 spots for announcements in the middle of our worship guide. So those don't repeat what's done in the video announcement. So I just kind of rotate those, and usually 2 to 3 weeks out we start promoting that thing, unless it is a bigger event like Drive-Thru Nativity or something like that. Does that answer? Okay. All right, next we're going to show you a sermon bumper. Has anybody in here heard about the preaching project, J2E3? Okay, so I'm going to show you the Control-Alt-Delete bumper. The side note here, the preaching project is a collaboration among churches where we're providing the series abstract, sermon notes, video sermons, graphics, sermon bumpers, things like that. It's the 3rd round. You'll hear about it tonight when Pastor Tucker does the Guido Merkins award presentation, things like that. But this is the current series we're doing, Control-Alt-Delete for Lent, and it ends right before Easter, right? It doesn't include Easter Sunday, I don't think. So some of you may have seen it if you're doing the preaching project, but here's a sample sermon bumper.
So today we're talking about righteousness. You know, he rolls right into it. That's the whole point of it. Yeah.
Now this one, Jonathan used some stock footage, and then those 2 ladies are on our staff, and he combined that, and it just kind of sets apart the sermon part of worship. everybody knows, okay, lights kind of go down, we play the bumper, and then Pastor Tucker goes into it. What else was I going to say about that? Oh, and then we get from Pastor Tucker and Pastor McIntosh, who put this series together, we get from them, well, what kind of feel do you want this bumper to have? Like, is it serious, or do you want text only? Do you want people talking? What are you looking for? So we get a little bit of guidance from them, but most of the time, at this point, they trust Jonathan. They know that we'll talk and he'll put together something really good. But this time, Pastor Zach was like, just keep it lighthearted. Like, don't make the music heavy or anything like that. And so that's kind of the process of that.
There's your welcome slide too. First title slide of the sermon. Starts.
Yeah, the screens looked really good. Did you guys just shoot the screens, or did y'all like have a blank green on the screen and then composite?
Jonathan?
For the actual, on the computers during the video?
Yeah.
What we did was, for our staff people, they actually had a green on their screen, so I just keyed it in. Yeah.
There you go. Nice.
So Jonathan knows like Photoshop and After Effects and all that stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Apologize, can I jump back to your announcements?
Sure.
Who decides who gets what time in an announcement?
I do. They will shoot with Jonathan, and he'll often condense them. Like, well, why don't you say this? I mean, he definitely directs them, and then when he puts it in the computer, he can see too, well, that sentence was unnecessary, or I'm going to tell that information just on the screen. Do you want to add to that?
Yes, it's a great collaborative team between Joy and I. We've already got the math down, and if we have 5 announcements for one Sunday, they have to do it 30 seconds or less for each little announcement, because we have other stuff, an intro and a little outro to go with it. So it's all about timing your talent.
What if you have 8 people that want announcements?
Then I just say, you know what, you're going to be on next week, or you can do an announcement where we're only going to put that on Facebook this week. Because we really gotta, because even with 5 announcements, we know that not everybody pays attention and even gets that information, because it can be too much. It's just,
Where do you put your announcements within your service? Where do they fall?
After. Yeah.
Pastor gets up and welcomes people and says anything he wants to, like, hey, Super Bowl was awesome, or Super Bowl's later today, whatever. Quick little thing, does an opening prayer, amen, they go. People get up at the end of the video announcements. We don't have the end, do we? Of these on this thing. It's okay, you don't have to play it, but we don't have one, right? Queued up.
Yeah. No,
the very end.
I can show
no
you.
big deal.
Okay.
The very end. Whoever does the closing, whether it's Pastor Tucker or Pastor Zach, they'll say, "Now stand up and greet the people around you." Our people have gotten used to that being on video, and so they know the end of the announcement's coming. We have the attendance card is there,
fill it out.
so fill out your attendance card. It's important to us. They know we're getting to the end. They're like, waiting. Now stand up, greet the people around you, and then get up, shake hands, then we go into the invocation.
Okay.
It's funny, on some services we don't have people greet, like Good Friday, or we don't do video announcements on Good Friday, but something like that. There'll be some services people don't greet, and it's kind of weird. It's like, fill out your attendance card. Thank you. Wait, I don't stand up today.
Yeah.
It would be that weird one.
And we don't do video announcements for any of our special services, like Lent or,
Advent.
like you said, those are if he says anything, it's live.
Yeah.
Say that again, you don't do the video announcements during...
Special services.
Not during Lent, but for a Wednesday Lent service.
Yeah.
Or Ash Wednesday, Advent, Good Friday, Monday.
Yeah. Next, this was just a fun video. If you guys watch Jimmy Fallon, you'll know where we got the idea. Just a fun video that we only put on Facebook because we didn't think it was appropriate for worship.
Yeah.
And it was just something fun to get people talking about our auction.
It's just promotion, just a commercial.
Well, I went down to the Concordia auction. my mind told me I should proceed with caution. But my heart said go ahead and leave it on there. And I said, hey pretty lady, won't you give me a sign? I'd give anything to make it my own mind. Do your bidding and be at your beck and call. If you see anyone looking so fine, and I got a habit, she's the one of a kind. Go in once, go in twice, I'm so early in the second row. She's an 8, she's a 9, she's a 10, I know. She got a ruby red lips, blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm about to bid my heart goodbye.
You didn't sing.
There's a reason for that.
Just give her the cowbell.
Yeah, I am not. Everybody else in that is part of our worship team, and I am not. I was just there for the cowbell. So that took us
12 takes, I think.
a little bit more than that, but we did. It took us probably 2 to 3 hours to shoot that. Because you know, you got a lot, but this had a lot of elements, like Nicole starting the. I don't even know the word because I don't know music.
I just made a quick loop.
Yeah,
just like
yeah. So there were a lot of things to work out, but anyway, so that was fun. We got so much response from that on Facebook because it was just something different and fun to do. So.
And something like that, you know, what's the fruit of that in ministry? You know, that's silly. It's not a Christian song. Doesn't glorify God. It's on Facebook. It's not even in church. But it creates this relationship with the people. So in this day of age where we're all often texting and we're all busy, something like this, they see people they know. They see the lady who was up here, Natalie, on your left. She's a youth leader. So they see, oh, my kids are hanging out with Natalie in the weekend. Oh, she's pretty cool. You know, it just creates this connection with the people and this personalization for a larger church who you don't always know all the people. You know, so it's just fun. Sometimes just do it for fun.
Yeah. But you wouldn't, so like that one you said you thought was inappropriate for during the service. And I mean, how do you?
For us, there's nothing inherently sinful about it.
Right.
But
well, sure. But
we didn't just want to do like a.
Come to that?
We're still real careful.
Yeah.
About what, like, video announcements, we can kind of be silly and stuff because those aren't actually part of worship.
Yeah, you know, if you get like, technical, like invocation, these are before the invocation.
Right. But we just kind of know. We know. I think that's a church by church call.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You just know your congregation. We know Pastor Tucker well enough to know. I sent him that. He was traveling, and I sent him the link to that and said, and we had another one too. Want to be sure you're cool with these before we post them out there for Facebook only. And he wrote back, no way. And he gave me like a heart attack. I was like, oh no. And he's like, just kidding, they were awesome. You know? Likes to do that to me. So I was like, oh, we just spent the whole morning doing this. And
So do you get a lot of feedback from him? I mean, in terms of like, I mean, I guess you've been doing this for a while. So early on, there was more collaboration.
Early on, he approved every video. He doesn't even see the video announcements
Early
anymore.
on, he would sit with us and edit.
Right.
Yeah.
Over our
early
shoulders.
on, there was a lot more for you to get that sense from him.
Right.
What the tone is okay with, what it's not.
Yeah.
We built a relationship over the years and just working.
And he trusts us. He knows there's, you know, for instance, we have a ton of bloopers. Obviously, we're not going to throw those away. We keep those in a separate file and whatever. He's shown those bloopers of himself to people, but he knows we would never like embarrass him.
Yeah, we're not going to send it out.
He always views them first, and he's got a great sense of humor and can laugh at himself. And most of us can't because we all make a ton of mistakes. But Jonathan does have a special file. He puts those in.
How do you handle all your data management to look up? We need footage from 2 years ago at the Family Film Fest.
Jonathan?
Well, that were, you know, we have a media drive, and say we have drive-through nativity. Okay, there's drive-through nativity 2013 pictures and you know, video clips. Okay, that's where it is.
Right, so you all have it on one drive of like active storage, not archived off somewhere.
Correct. Right, it's folder-based organization. There's no management of querying and all that stuff. Okay. But it is a NAS, and so it's through Synology. So there's the app. So like right now, I can get to everything on my phone. so which is really helpful without VPNing in or anything like that.
And Jonathan knows too that there's some stuff he can just delete, get rid of, but mostly he archives it. No, yeah, he's like, I need more space, but.
Can we talk about 25th anniversary?
The what?
25th anniversary.
Oh. Yeah.
So like, you want to tell her or you want me to?
You go ahead. It's too
So we're
painful.
coming to this trip. So Joy made a video in 2012 of Pastor Tucker's 25th anniversary.
In ministry.
Yeah, in ministry. And it wasn't for church. It was for a private event or whatever. But a lot of work. I mean, really cool way to honor him. And
I tracked old people he knew when he was young, the church he was ordained at, like to put all this, got a ton of pictures
really cool
and whatever.
And for whatever reason, the only time this has ever happened, her computer had a major crash issue, like hard drive wiped, kind of weird stuff, about a week after she showed it, and she didn't put it on the server anywhere. We've got all the elements, video, pictures and whatever, but the actual edited video
Like that
wasn't
final
there.
export, yeah.
Well, now coming to best practices in 2016, Pastor Tucker was asking for that video. And it's one of those things, the only thing that we have ever lost, I think, or one of the only things, is, because we didn't transfer it to the server quick enough or whatever. So it's just one of those things you learn over the years.
Yeah, and usually I know I made hard copies for his family.
Yes.
So, and he knows that he has them somewhere.
It does exist on DVD.
Yes.
Right.
But even to get it off, it's not going to be
Rip it,
good
it's
quality,
40p.
and so that's disappointing.
Yeah.
But we're going to move on.
So, well, I bring that up because of you're right, a folder structure. Ideally, you want the stuff not stored in your own computer. You want to put it on. That's why YouTube is great, because Google's not crashing. So YouTube, Vimeo, you can upload this stuff there to store it permanently. You can always go re-download it as long as you don't need it immediately. You can, of course, again, a server that's backed up, cloud storage.
Also, too, you would have your own separate media server. You wouldn't use the church's main server, right?
Yeah, we don't use, we have a media server for a bunch of just videos and stuff. But the IT guys have taken care of making sure everything's backed up locally and off-site, But that's taken time to get there. That wasn't like that 5 years ago even. So.
And Jonathan keeps a log every week of the video announcements we do at that time of year, like by weekend. And so just the other day, he looked at what did we announce this weekend in February in 2015, and he sent me that to be sure we're not missing stuff. So that's helpful too. We got a couple more samples. We talked about testimonies earlier. We have a lot of sermon series where we invite congregation members to come in and talk about the topic. So it's not Pastor Tucker talking about it. It's just kind of familiar faces coming in and sharing their thoughts about the topic that week. This particular week, we were talking about the value and importance of friendship. So we had pairs of friends come in and talk to us about friendship.
I think friendship is important because, especially moms, we need a support system.
It makes life fun. Having good friends around you is so much better than being, all alone or always serious.
Because you're always nice to me, we can play princess every day, and we can cheer everything, and we can play and sing songs, and we can play Rapunzel, and we can play everything we want.
We have been friends for 11 years, 182 days, 3 hours, and 7 seconds. 7 seconds. I mean, we're always here for each other. Even though we're busy all the time, we're still like brothers,
I think what makes a really good friend is a person who is forgiving and forgets and realizes that no one is perfect.
Because you like to play with each other, because we love and we forgive.
Okay, so that was just one of the weeks. We did marriage another week, so we had couples come in. It's just fun to see. I mean, you've got two little girls, their view on friendship, and then the two older ladies that what they value in friendship. So it's just a neat, change things up a little bit. Again, most of those people don't like to come in and do it, but once they understand what we're trying to do, they're usually willing to come in. The last sample we have, TJ was talking earlier about video conferencing and how this is a tool we use all the time now. Do you want to talk specifically about this?
Yeah. So last year, we started to rebroadcast all of our services 24/7. Well, started to rebroadcast services and sermons and adult Bible classes 24/7. did some work with Google Ads and put it out there, bless you, to go, you know, keywords that come up on Google or whatever, because you get free Google Ads as a nonprofit. And we've had some connections from all over the world. I've recently been discipling and working with a pastor in Azerbaijan, I think that's how you say it, which is between Iran and Russia. We've been talking over Skype, and some other folks have contacted me and we've talked to them. Well, there's a guy named Abid in Pakistan who contacted us, and we talked with him. I put him in touch with Julie Tucker, Pastor Tucker's wife, who was the director of missions, and talked to Steve Wagner some. And so Steve and Abid have been talking for a while, and discipling and working through Bible studies and things like that. And then at some point, well, Abid started working with other people, and we've got this motto, you know, that we use, J2E3, Jesus to everyone, everywhere, every day. And so that guy there started having Bible studies and groups gathering, and we sent them some materials, some shirts, and they wear the J2E3 shirts sometimes. And so I think this was a youth event, was that correct? Mm-hmm. Pastor Ben got on a video call with Pastor Steve and with Julie Tucker and Abid, and there were some youth there in Pakistan, and Pastor Ben preached to them and taught them in a very relevant, practical, young, you know, fun kind of way that Pastor Ben does. And it was really neat, and we did that all, I think, using Skype. So if you want to check this out, this was an example of that.
So here's
Oh, we just have
Julie.
a picture?
No, I have a video, but before we start, there's Pastor Wagner, Pastor Ben, and Julie looks like she's at home.
She's at home, yeah.
They're at the church office, and then this is...
It's terrible quality.
Yeah,
I had to rip it from Facebook or whatever, but it works.
I want to just thank you all today for being a part of Jesus to everyone, everywhere, every day. We're talking to you from San Antonio, Texas. Halfway around the world, you are hearing us in your home in Pakistan. So it is absolutely stunning to me that we're able to do that and to talk about the one who is our hero, who is our strength, who is our Savior, Jesus Christ. Jesus to everyone, everywhere, every day. You know, on our Friday, the sun hasn't even come up yet. We're just starting our Friday, and we're excited to share our day with you.
So, just running slides, then Pastor Ben starts teaching. That was Pastor Steve talking for a while, but then Ben started teaching and talking to them, and they're youth, and so they don't have a lot of youth pastors over there. In fact, it's quite problematic to be a Christian in Pakistan. So this is cool. And while this isn't video and worship, and this was not high dollar, this is a free Skype call, I think, or Zoom or whatever we're using. It's really cool. And we post that to Facebook so people can see, again, the people can see what we're doing. We can't always be talking about everything. We're not only doing sermons on Sunday. There's a lot more going on, a lot more ministry to be done, and now with the web, we can do that. So this was just another way to show the congregation some of the things we're working on, which was a direct byproduct of us streaming and rebroadcasting online, which is now why I used to be director of worship ministries last month, and now I'm online pastor, so I can manage this stuff, because there's a lot of people coming in that we need to talk to, we need to work with and connect them to local churches, because the goal is never to just have church online. The goal is to connect them with local churches. If they have nothing and they want to join us, great, and I'll always be in a relationship with them. But we want to connect them to the local church, to the church in their area, to gospel ministry, to hear faithful Bible-based teaching. They can join us as well as they want to, but it's really cool ministry, and video makes that possible. So I think that's
all of it.
That's how we're using video. Some ideas of how to use video. Yeah. Any questions? Anything you guys want to bring up? Yeah.
How often do you use scripts?
For like video announcements or what?
For all of it.
Well,
some people use scripts for their video announcements. Sometimes they write them themselves. Sometimes Jonathan writes for them because he knows that that's helpful. Otherwise, Pastor Tucker and Pastor Zach will use a sermon outline with notes, but they're never really looking down at it. They'll look and then look up and just talk to the camera. They're comfortable enough doing that. So we don't really use many scripts very often.
But you do that rather than film him preaching in a service?
Well, it's used for two different things. We post the sermon from Sunday on our website. When we're talking with him in the room, we like for the preaching project, we have to disperse that before he actually does it on Sunday. And we've tried. We talked about that at one point, and we feel like the camera, the intimacy of him talking to you in the green room on the camera, you can see him better. We have a lot more flexibility in post-production. We just feel like
looking at the camera.
Right, and he's looking at the camera.
Oh, right.
So that's how we choose to do it. Now, we only film sermons when we're in a preaching project in the green room. Right. Otherwise, we're only using what he does on Sunday for video.
Right, right. And so one of the point, our video announcements are very, they're very formulaic. So there's an intro and the body, and that's it. So it's real simple. For the most part, at least when I do mine, I'll write my script, and if I'm going to be talking about, we need church musicians. So hi, we don't even introduce ourselves anymore. We just put our name, bless you, at the bottom. But hey, we're looking for talented musicians who can play. Would love to volunteer for our 11 a.m. service. Boom. That's an intro. Then the rest is going to be graphics. So I can pause for a minute and then read the rest of my script. So really only memorize is that fair, Jonathan, that most of those are that formula? You just do an intro on camera, looking at the camera, then pause, and graphics are going to come up, and now we're going to have auditions on Thursday at 7:30 p.m. You can just read whatever you want after that. So our next session is at 2 o'clock, right? And part 2. And what are we going over on that?
We're going to talk more about equipment, software, resources. If you haven't started using it, or even if you have started, how do you get more out of video? Talking about how to recruit volunteers, especially youth who already probably know how to do a lot of this stuff, to start helping you out. Things like that. More of the how-to, as opposed to this is what we do and maybe you could use too.
Yep.
And are these slides available? Like that list you had of all the things we do and the stuff you'll do?
Yeah, so on bestpractices.church, it's not up right now because we usually tweak it based on questions we get, but last year's presentations are on there now. We'll upload this presentation on bestpractices.church under this using video and ministry part 1 within the week.
Yeah, everything should be up by the end of next week. Or close to it. If the video's not up, all the slides will be up for sure.
Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter. I don't really tweet, so.
So your
but
timeline,
TJ does.
Joy, don't sell it like that. Say, if you don't want your timeline to be filled up with junk, follow Joy.
Yep, that's right.
She will never fill anything. She won't post it. But yeah, follow me if you want. Twitter, you can tweet us, email us. Our contact info is on bestpractices.church. And then we've got business cards up here.
Yeah.
We're just going.
And we always love to see what other people are doing.
Yeah.
You gave a session yesterday.
They did.
Right, and I couldn't stay the whole time, but I popped in there because I just like to, I love video. I love to see what everybody else is doing, and we're always, again, this is how we do it. We know there are other, probably better ways too, but this works for us, and we'd like to see what you guys are doing too. So we would like to stay connected with you. And if there's a way we can help, we'd be happy to do that.
I'm going to put these business cards on the table here if you all want. Our email address is on there, but again, contact info will be on bestpractices.church, or you can tweet me and I'll get you in touch with Joy.
Yeah, and we know there's a lot of sessions, so we're thankful that you
guys
chose to come see us.
Appreciate it.
Okay, have a good rest of your day.